some music. Do I have any music? Do not. Hi! Long time no IG live. I'm trying to put some music on, but it's not working, so just wanted to check in on y'all to see how you're doing. I will be saving this live. I will be uploading it, so do not worry about that. Hi, James. I hope you're feeling better from the COVID, the Rona. Hi, everyone. Good to see you guys. If you have burning questions, throw them up. I'm happy to answer them. Let me see here. I haven't done this in so long, so let me see what I can do. What should I do now? If I graduated college and currently can't get PA hours because of the Rona, try your best. A lot of schools are, I believe, doing some kind of adjustments with the requirements. I would say reach out to those programs, see what they suggest for you, and go from there. That's personally what I would do. Make sure that what you're doing is gonna count, and if they have any adjustments for any requirements, you should kind of follow up on that. Hi everyone. All right. So like I said earlier, any burning questions, please throw them up. I just wanted to see how you guys are doing during this really awkward time in history. I'm doing okay. It's been different at work because we shut down, did telehealth for a good month and a half, and that was horrendous, especially with my patient population. A lot of neurology clinic visits, or actually telehealth. It's very hard for patients that are confused, and for our older patients to work with technology, that's very hard too. So that was very challenging. Let me see here. Last day of PA school is 8/24. You are so close to being done. Congrats. Study tips for undergrad. So I did a thing where I took a test to kind of assess what kind of a learner I am, whether I'm a visual learner, kinesthetic, audio, which I'm not. I took this quiz right before actually PA school started because our class, one of our class had us all do that so that we are aware of kind of how we best study, and then we can then find the appropriate resources to help us study. So I actually do have something written up on my blog about that. It turns out I'm a visual kinesthetic learner, so I have to write all my notes down. So I use my iPad, and I use pictures, I use Picmonics and all that, so that helped me a lot. And that didn't really change in PA school. I was told that things would change 180 and it didn't, so I got freaked out. So I kept my learning technique the same as I had it in, if you're my boyfriend, he's playing Call of Duty downstairs, so don't mind that. But everything stayed the same for PA school, and I kept everything pretty much the same learning wise. So I would suggest kind of assessing how you best learn and then go from there. So if this is kind of bouncy, I apologize. It's my little new mount that I got. Alrighty, let me check. What's a good number for PCE to apply? Should I apply if I meet minimum or just get as much hours? So depends for which schools you apply to. Each school has different requirements, so pick your top 3. So this is kind of what I've been telling a lot of my pre-PAs that I've been mentoring. Pick your top 3 schools, look at their requirements, see what they want, and kind of gear your plan towards that. That's what I did. I had top 3 schools, or my top 3, and then I saw that Western needed genetics, so I had to take genetics. USC needed a GRE, so I took GRE just for them. And some weird other courses that I can't think of right now, but I took those courses because of the certain school I wanted to go to. The hours, I needed to get above 1,000 for some of these schools, so I did it accordingly. So I would say surpass the minimum required hours if you can. I know it's really tough right now with pandemic. If you're in the LA area, there are a lot of actually volunteering opportunities. I'll probably make a post about that very soon because I've been getting a lot of, like I signed up to be a healthcare provider for the city of LA during COVID times, but right now they don't need us yet. I feel like they might soon. So I signed up with that, and then they actually said, oh, we don't need any medical volunteers right now, there's non-medical. And so there's a thing called Project Room Key where volunteers, anyone, you, your parents, whomever, can volunteer, and they basically inspect, I want to say, empty hotel rooms so that COVID negative, I think at-risk populations get to stay in those rooms. So I think that's a really great opportunity, especially for a lot of pre-PAs in the LA area that cannot volunteer right now because of all these restrictions and stay-at-home orders. I'll probably do a post about that so I can get that resource out to you guys. If you're not in the LA area, I would suggest checking in with your local, I don't know, county, kind of see what measures they're taking. If they need volunteers, I would just try to do that if you can. Let's see. If I turn my visiting credits into a degree, will it boost my GPA? I'm not sure. For those types of questions, I would, for example, public health degree, I would ask the programs themselves. So if you have questions specifically about kind of your hours or your degree or like just certain requirements, I would ask the programs, email them, call them, so you get a really direct and clear answer because everyone's different and I don't want to give you the wrong answer. Thanks, Janelle. The website, it's you can go on my page or my IG. You can click on that website link that I have in my bio, and you can go into the search bar and you can type up, I already forgot what I was talking about, but like I think volunteering or study tips. Yeah, study tips. You can look for that. I often hear that doctors have a more in-depth breadth of knowledge, and just curious what your thoughts are on that as a PA. Absolutely. They go to so many more years of schooling than we do. They go into the nitty-gritty of all of these disease processes and etc. So I agree, definitely. How long does it take to pay off debt in PA school? Not a year, because that's where I'm at almost. Yeah, it's been almost a year since I've graduated, so it's probably gonna take a long time, but depending on how much you have accumulated and how strict you are with paying things back. It's kind of difficult this year because of the pandemic, but I hope to pay it off as soon as I can. I don't want to give myself too much pressure, but I don't know, I've heard people do it in 5 years, which is amazing. It really depends how much you come out of school with. How long did you study for the GRE? 2 weeks. I am a huge procrastinator. I don't study until I feel like there's pressure. Same with PA school, like I didn't study until like the very end. And it works for me. It took me 2 weeks, but I know people take from anywhere from 1 month to 2 months. So I would say pick a date about 2 months out or something. My best advice to you is to really try to do the practice exams, because it's, I believe, a 3-hour long test. And what really got to me was the stamina in taking the GRE. So I would say just buckle down and sit down and just take the test, the practice test. Like, I took it twice before I actually took the real thing. I was still mentally fatigued. So you got to train yourself to kind of withstand that long of a testing period. I have, of course, blog posts about this, so you can check out on my website. It's funny, I laugh because a lot of my friends are like and subscribe, leave a comment. It's just really funny because, I mean, I do that too, so whatever. But yeah, it is on my website. I use Magoosh to kind of study the vocab words. I think, Kaplan. I used my friend's book. I use the online course so that I can take the actual practice tests. So I would do that. Would scribing work for PCE hours? So it depends. A lot of my classmates are scribes that worked for certain programs. If you're not sure if this counts, here's a mess. If you're not sure that this counts or not, ask the program, see if that counts, because it would suck if you did all this scribing and it just didn't count for this one school. So ask the programs, call them, email them to get a better answer. Let's see. I was wondering what you wish a pre-PA club offered to you as an undergrad. Ooh, that's a good question that would have helped you in the PA route. So I was a part of the PA/NP program at USC. There wasn't one there at UCR when I was there. What was really helpful for the pre-PA clubs, to have that panel of kind of different PAs come. That was really nice and inspiring because you can see kind of the diversity and the kind of awesomeness of PAs through the panels. What might really help is kind of resources for volunteering, resources for shadowing. I know that's hard, but if you guys can establish some sort of system where you have a bunch of resources for each thing so that the pre-PAs in the club can have immediate access to that. I think that's super helpful. I got my first volunteering shadowing a PA thing through going to one of these club events, and just asking around, like, oh, hey, where do you like shadow or where do you volunteer? And one of like the club members were like, oh yeah, I go down the street. So that's where it just jump-started everything for me. So great question. PCAT, I don't know much about that. It's freaking annoying. You guys have to do so much more. I really honestly don't know anything about that. I feel like I'm phasing out in kind of knowing a lot of the application process. So PCAT, have no idea. I'll probably do some research after this to see what that entails. I know that some schools have it, some schools require it, some do not. I really hope they don't push that upon you guys, because just this whole year has been so hard already. And it's just another exam, I believe. I heard about the Casper though. Casper is like the ethics kind of question. You can't really study for that. But I heard that's like a thing too that schools are now implementing. Job searching look like for me. So job searching as a new fresh PA, right? So about March of last year, I ended school July 31st, right? So March of last year, I started to like look at I looked on Indeed. I was already kind of making connections through my rotations. And I was kind of checking what's out there. So I looked on Indeed, looked at what's available, new grad PA, surgery PA, or kind of, what else did I want to do? Facial plastics PA. There's really nothing, honestly. So I kind of started looking in March. In our program, we had to get a CV ready, a resume. We had to keep updating it, or I did, every month with new rotations that came through. I updated my CV so that I wouldn't have to like get all riled up at the end in putting it together. So I started looking a couple months ahead. So this is how it all turned out. I was offered a job on my last rotation last July. Uh, that didn't particularly go through yet. Still hasn't. So I was like, okay, well, I want to actually work. I don't want to keep waiting around. So I reached out to my old employers and my old colleagues in neurology, and it turns out that one of my colleagues, like, their clinic wanted a PA, so that all worked out. So that was great. So foster your relationships that you have now, because you don't know, you have no idea. Like, it's really hard right now to get a job, and I know that some of you kind of know that I'm in the middle of a transition. It's been a very long time, still transitioning, and I'm gonna get there soon, but it is very hard. It's a very harsh climate to be hiring new people for, like, employers right now because of what's going on, but there are people out there hiring. So I would say just be vigilant. I saw in a YouTube video somewhere, I think it was Leanne, she said that, you know what, I was really happy with my job, and you know what, I just kept looking around just to see what's out there, because you never know. So even though that you're pretty content in where you're at, always be on the lookout, because you never know what's out there. So I would say just start looking around. Going on Indeed gets me really excited, because I'm like, oh, maybe I can be here. Oh, maybe I can be this. I can do that. But then it gets really stressful, because you're like, oh my God, they want how many years of experience, and I don't have that. So I go on little Indeed spurts here and there, but I would say just start looking now and see what's out there. So if they want a certain thing, you can start working towards that. Boyfriend's just having a grand old time down there. Okay, so what's a good time to submit applications? Would this month be too late? So for your CASPA, it depends. If you have November deadlines, I believe 2, 3, or even 4 months before that, that'd be great. So a lot of my applications were November deadlines back in the day, and my first time I submitted in August. Not too bad. I hear early submissions are better, so I did that. The next year I did July, and then the previous year I was like pretty well seasoned, because it's my third time around. I did June, I think June 18th or something like that. So give yourself some time. Don't rush. Like, if the application cycle opens in April, don't be like, okay, April like 30th, I'm done. You want to have some time to really flesh out all of your answers and all of your statements and essays, responses. Just make sure you don't rush. I would say a couple months before the deadline would be great. There's no perfect time. Just make sure that everything is like not rushed, and you feel good about submitting what you're submitting. How did you acquire your paid patient contact hours? So I was an EMT. I did a really intense EMT course back in undergrad. Got my license a year or so afterwards. Started working. Realized it wasn't for me. The conditions were really, really rough. And I wanted to do more for my patients. I wanted to do more for myself. I wasn't able to do much on the ambulance. So I decided to look. It took me about a month and a half to look for an uncertified MA position, so medical assistant. But I did find it, and I gained so many skills from that position. I was basically a office manager, because it was just the doc, the wife, and myself running a new pediatric clinic. So I learned a lot. Learned so much from that job. And so that was my experience. And then I was also an EMT for a detox facility. So I was basically a glorified babysitter for that job, but it was really cool because I was in a different patient population that I've never dealt with before. Addiction, mental health, excuse that, So that was really fun, and I did that at the same time as the pediatric MA position. Um, and then soon after all those happened, I got a neurodiagnostic tech job, but I didn't count that as my patient care because a lot of my patients were asleep in surgery. That was a really cool job. I was able to monitor their sensory motor responses during surgery for like brain and spinal cases, and ENT cases too. That was really fun. Really, really technical, really cool. Have you ever regretted pursuing PA? Okay, well, when I was looking for jobs right when the Rona hit, or just like in April, it was very tough to find a job because a lot of listings want NPs and they don't really want PAs. That could have been like a lot of reasons. I'm not sure why, but that was really frustrating. Because for PAs, we need to be with a supervising physician. And for NPs, sometimes they do, depending on the state and where you're at. Sometimes they do, but majority of the listings that I saw were just, they want NPs only. So that was the only part where I was like, man, what the heck? Like I'm supposed to be secure in this like medical field, but because I'm outpatient, stuff started to close down for us. It was a little bit weird because you have like your colleagues on the front lines in the ER and urgent care, primary care. Like it was just a weird situation, but we're kind of okay now. I'm okay now. I am working again. So that was probably the only bit where I was like, man, did I do it wrong? But that quickly went away because we're good now. What year in your undergraduate did you start your patient care hours? So I didn't find out about PA until my junior year. And that was pretty late. So I didn't really do my patient care hours until after my senior year. Yep. Because I did the EMT thing like senior year, and then it took me a year to kind of get licensed. So not until afterwards. So I believe 1 year equals like about 1,000 hours if you do full time or so. Not sure anymore, but that's just about how much I got within a year. When in your application year did you start receiving interviews? So it's different. Each school is different, but I remember I submitted my last year in June. I probably received something in June, July, August, like August, September for like November, December interviews. So my first one I believe was like end of September. So I probably got that in August. So really depends on kind of the schools. What is this? Oh, cool. There's like question thingies. Okay. You're about to submit your CASPA, but if you don't get in, should I apply for RN and work to NP? Okay, yeah. That's what a lot of my friends did because we had buddies, CASPA buddies. We were going into our second to third year, and my buddy was like, I can't do this anymore. I have to start on something. I can't just wait another year to hopefully get into PA school and then 2 more years after that. So some people did the BSN to RN, and then if they want to do NP, that's great too. If that fits with you, then yes, but I didn't want to go down that route because I, first of all, just didn't really know much about it. I didn't realize that there was like so many different degrees. There's like ADN, which I'm probably getting this wrong, BSN, RN, and then NP is like 2 more or 3 more years. So I would say really flush that out, really know and research what that entails and see if that fits into kind of your timeline. I didn't want to, because I had a bachelor's, right? Does that mean that I can go straight into RN? I don't know. I didn't research that, but in order to do RN and then NP, that seemed like more years for me than PA. So, up to you. If that fits you, I would say go for it. My timeline, I just wanted to be like a provider ASAP, so I stuck with kind of the PA route. Of course, no problem. How was the licensing process after graduation? How long did it take you to actually begin working? So, our school is really Western was awesome. They gave us like a little timeline of what to do and what to submit for, because there are so many things. I should have brought my iPad in here, but there was like NPI, register for the pants, self-inquiry or some query, self-query, I don't know, DEA, you gotta take the controlled substance course. There's just so much, but I think I got everything in the state of California. It wasn't too bad as long as you pay all the awesome fees. I think you're good. But I graduated July 31st, took my pants August 12th, 13th. I think I got everything done by early September, and I started working like beginning of September. So yeah, and then my DEA kind of lagged a little bit, but I wasn't gonna prescribe any narcs or narcotics anytime soon, so it was done within a couple months. I should really make a timeline, especially for like the California PAs. I know we have a lot of programs, so maybe I can do that for y'all. Wishing you the best of luck. Thank you. Does Western U require a personal statement? So CASPA does, so everyone definitely needs a personal statement. As for the secondary, I heard that you guys no longer have to do these secondary like essay. Like they don't have an essay where you like talk about like something outside of like medicine. I don't know anymore. I'm so far removed. It's been like 3-4 years. So I have no idea, but personal statement, yes, because you have to submit that to every single school. Study methods while in didactic. Transition of the breadth of material has been tough on me. Yeah, it's a crap ton of info. So what we struggled with, or I did, was that we had way too many resources. Like you have Pants Prep Pearls, you have CMDT, you have like these amazing study guides that my classmates made. You have like what else? Like just a ton of crap, and it's like what is going to work best for you. Oh, you have like class notes, class PowerPoints. So it's like you have to figure out for each class. You take the first test, see how you do, see what they focus on, what they pull from. Do they pull from the presentations? Do they pull from CMDT? Do they pull from like Pants Prep Pearls? Probably not yet, but see how you do on that first test and then go from there. I think I had to give myself that like pep talk, like, hey, yeah, you like messed up on this first test, but you know what? You know what to expect next time, so you can adjust accordingly. So each class is very different. Like what I did for pharmacology was like verbatim, like slides and just memorizing these different drugs and what side effects and kind of contraindications are. That was just like pure memorization. For adult medicine or kind of disease processes, that was like CMDT, but beyond. Like our professor challenged us to kind of put all the things together, like not just what is on that paper or that book, but you have to think beyond that. So that one was like more CMDT. Physical examination, that was like Bates. Yeah, so it depends on the class. So it's hard to say like, oh, you got to do this for all the classes, because that's not true. For, what is it, structure and function, which is our anatomy and physio class, that was pure like presentation, I believe. nothing else. So you have to figure out each course and see where they pull their information from. So it was like a game, a stressful game that you gotta figure out. But that's kind of how I did it. Did you get all your prereqs with your degree? Oh no. Neuroscience, first of all, I did a Bachelor of Arts because I didn't want to take OChem or biochem or physics because I didn't believe in that. I know I sound really, really privileged, but I did horrible in chemistry, and I was like, how the heck am I going to do OChem or even biochem if I can't even get basic chemistry? So I looked for the major that, or the bachelor's that didn't have these requirements, and so I was able to do Bachelor of Arts. Got that done, looked at all the prereqs for PA school, realized that I didn't do anatomy, physiology, intro to psych, intro to soc, no, actually I did take genetics because I knew I was trying to apply to Western. That was a freaking hard class. So no, I had to actually take more classes outside of my major. So if you're wondering what the best major is, pick the one that has most of the prereqs, because you're gonna do yourself a favor and save time. You're completing your requirements for like your bachelor's, as well as you're doing prereqs for PA school. So I would say that. So just do that, because I took neuroanatomy, and that was freaking awesome, but not regular or not intro, so I had to do that. Going to clinical rotations in January, best advice to make the best of it. I wonder which one, because it depends on which one. Like if it's general surgery, then oh my gosh, you have to like go on YouTube, look at all these videos. That's what I did. So again, on my website, I have a recap of every single clinical rotation that I've ever did, what I did to prepare for it, what I did to prepare for the end of rotation exams, what I wore, what my schedule was like, what I liked, what I didn't like. It's all on there. So don't be afraid to click my website, look at those blogs, because I did that for this reason. Honestly, to also kind of give me a virtual diary of like what I've been through. So check it out on my website. But clinical rotations in general, treat it like a interview, because it's a month-long or 6-week-long interview. You never know, because you can think about like, oh, I'm gonna want to get a job in like this other rotation, and that doesn't work out. Then you're like, okay, crap, like cold calling offices is really hard. They don't know you. They're probably not going to hire you. But if you've had relationships with these clinical sites that you've worked at, they know you. They've seen you work. If you make a good impression, like you should, they're going to hire you. Like, even if they're not looking for a PA, you can just be like, hey, I really enjoyed my time in January. I just wanted to give you my CV just in case anyone is hiring. Let me know. I'd be happy to join this facility or whatever, you know? So treat it like a interview. So if that means for you to refresh and to study the night before, go for it. I did that with my last rotation because I was like, I want a job. I want to impress. I don't know much about the ears. Let me look up all these ear disease processes. And like they gave me an offer, which is great. So I would say that's the main thing. You're going to fail. You're gonna mess up. I almost cussed there. You're gonna mess up, and it's okay. It's the time for you to mess up. You have a lot of like laxity there. Like you have a lot of space to mess up because you're a student. Like you don't know this stuff. I didn't. And even in my job now, I'm like, okay, I can't make those same mistakes that I did as a student. So make those mistakes. It's okay. Ask those questions. Don't just not say anything. Be proactive. Be friendly. Be good to your patients. Be good to your staff. Let me see. Do Do you know of any PAs working in the military? I almost did Navy PA, but yes, my classmate, he is, I'm not sure which branch, but he is, I believe, in the military as a PA now. I don't know much about that, but I should ask him. Why did I do PA, not MD? So, like everyone, I was pre-med. I joined a pre-med honor society, and I realized, oh, this is intense. This is a lot going on. MCAT, I already disliked the, SAT? Now I feel like they're not going to have people take the SAT anymore, but okay, whatever. I didn't like the SAT. I didn't like the GRE. MCAT, they added new sections. I have a lot of doctor friends, and they're like, oh yeah, I just got through my first few years of like residency. It was just a very long process, and it didn't fit kind of my timeline. Then I shadowed really awesome PAs. I shadowed pretty awesome MDs as well. I didn't get a chance to shadow a DO, but it was great. And I shadowed NP too. And within all those experiences, I like gravitated towards the PA profession a little bit more. And that's how I made my decision. I don't regret it. It's been awesome. Did you struggle in finding a PA to shadow? Yeah, that was really hard. And do you have any advice on finding PAs to shadow now, especially COVID season? Yeah, it's, so, I did that pre-med honor society. I joined a couple clubs at school, and I asked around. I was like, hey, do you guys know anybody? And that led me to my very first PA shadowing experience. So networking is very important. I know you guys are probably like, yeah, networking, cold calling, Facebook groups, like it's just really tough right now. A lot of pre-PAs on here are like, hey, do you have time for a student? I know it's COVID. Yeah, because it's COVID, it's very tough, especially right now in LA, because we're getting so many COVID positive patients now, a lot of hospitalizations. It's very hard. I know someone recently did a post about finding someone to shadow during this pandemic. I'm not sure if that's real or not. But I will look for it and I'll post it for you guys. I'll repost it on my story. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna take any students. First of all, I still feel like an imposter. Like, I don't know much. But I know that I do. And secondly, I just don't want more infection or just like more exposure to like my patients and to myself with another person. I've been honestly getting some COVID positive patients in my clinic, which is neurology outpatient. Granted, they are post-infection and they are negative now, but it's definitely everywhere. So I'm not going to do that shadowing thing yet, even though I want to, I really do, but the circumstances just, I don't think it's safe. I know there are virtual shadowing things going on. I think Non was doing it, but she's getting real busy right now. So yeah, just hang tight. I'll try to figure out some resources for you guys. Hi, Annie. Hi, Christy. Congrats on the new job. When do you start? So it's been a long process, but I think I start end of this month. We'll see. Nothing's final yet, so I don't want to jinx anything. But hopefully by the end of this month. Thinking of getting an iPad Air suitable. They have iPad Airs? Oh, iPad Airs. Yeah, that was like the old school one. So that's what I had before. But I wanted it to work with a pencil. And that doesn't work unless you have an iPad Pro. I have like the 2017 or 18 version. Get the cheaper one. Just make sure it works with the pencil, because that's the main reason why I got it. Ent rotation. I think you just sent me a DM. Ent rotation was amazing. It was at Keck. I established that rotation for all of the people at Western. Even though it's USC, I made that contract happen. So I hope you guys go. Loved it. Dr. Mark Heron is amazing. So go for it. You learn a lot. You get to experience head and neck. You get to experience otology, neuro-otology. What else did I do there? Laryngo. You get everything. It's really cool. I would say do that. Very fun. My favorite. What do you think about working as a PA in family med? I was like, nah, never. I would never do that coming out of school. And then the pandemic hit, and all these people want family med PAs, urgent care, ER PAs, and I was like, fudge. I should have did that. I think family medicine PAs are amazing. They do so much. It's just amazing. So I would say go for it. Not my cup of tea, but I really enjoyed my family medicine rotations. The best healthcare experience. You're a patient care aide with about 2,000 hours, but not sure if that's good enough. That's pretty good. Check out the programs, see what they require, see how you stack up against the previous class that entered. Go about it like that. Best HCE healthcare experience really depends on the school and their focus. I was EMT, I was in MA, I was a neurodiagnostic tech. I think patient care experience is more important. It's like you're able to just have relationships or even be able to conduct yourself with patients. I think that's more important. So figure that out by asking the programs and see what is their main focus. Let's see. I heard Western's PA program, they're doing the GPA tier for the application cycle. Do you know anything about that? It's freaking annoying. Not that Western's annoying, but I was annoyed at myself because I found that out the hard way. Sorry. They do have a GPA cutoff. So if you don't make that cutoff for that year, they're not going to look at your application. So you can actually call them, see what their GPA cutoff is for this application cycle. Because my first year, I didn't realize it was like a 3 something and I didn't meet that. And they're like, yeah, we didn't look at yours yet because you didn't meet that tier. And I was like, well, crap, that's misleading. So yeah, give them an email or give them a call to see what the GPA cutoff is and see if you line up. And if you don't, then don't put your money there. I love Western, but they're a numbers school, and I found that out the hard way. It is what it is. So contact them. Hi, George. I don't know if you're on here, but I'm like really slow with these questions. Let me see. Similar to the breadth of knowledge topic, has the gap between a PA and MD knowledge ever made you consider residency after PA school? No, not really. Because what we do is we learn on the job. If we want to know more, like we can do that if we want to. Right now, not particularly. But I know some of my classmates did like a mini fellowship or a mini like residency, and then now they're full-time, and that works for them. What was the hardest class of PA school? And what do you wish you would have studied before? I think adult medicine or just like the disease processes, that was really hard. Because that's the main bulk of like what you're trying to do. You're trying to become this provider that is able to discern these symptoms and kind of make a diagnosis out of that, and kind of knowing what the diagnostic protocols are, what labs what the treatment plan is, what works, what doesn't work. So that was tough because that is something you don't prepare for unless you're in PA school. So it's very hard to prepare for something like that. You have to just trust the program. And that's what a lot of our upperclassmen told us. Like, hey, a bunch of PAs were successful out of this program. Just trust the process and know that you're gonna get through this. Even though you don't feel prepared right now, you're gonna be pretty good once you're done. And yeah, going through rotations, I was like, I don't know, crap. And then going into kind of my first job, it just came back sometimes, and I was like, oh, I do know stuff. So you have to just put that trust into your program to have them teach you what they should. So it's kind of hard to say what to, oh, you can study because pharmacology, meds, antibiotics. I was struggling with that. Still struggle with that. So if there's anything you can do, if you want to do something, take an antibiotics class or something like that. Microbiome was really helpful and that helped, but I had to be reminded of that. Virtual PA mentors on Facebook to shadow. That's cool. Is that like a group or something? I would love to kind of share that. What about James? How is he doing? Yeah, how's Jamesy doing? Stay safe, everyone. Would you say PAs have a better work-life balance than MD, or is it about the same? Well, it depends. Depends what specialty you are, where you're at, where you're located. It all depends. I'm pretty new into kind of my PA life, so I'm gonna answer that probably in like a couple years. So I'll get back to you on that. Do you mind if I ask how difficult it was to set up the rotation on your own at Keck? Yeah, it took some time, but definitely doable if you're like supervising physician or like the preceptor is willing to kind of send in all the contracts, look at it, send it back. If it's a hospital, it's a little harder because they have to go through they have a bunch of policies. CAC has a lot of like weird stuff going on, so yeah, I don't know if creating another one at CAC is going to be feasible because they're under a lot of scrutiny for a lot of things. So maybe at clinics, different like private clinics, that's going to be easier for sure. Our program has a lot of questions regarding hiring new PAs out of school, especially during the pandemic. Any insights? I don't know. Depends. If it's a hospital, if it's a clinic, I don't know. You just have to like trust the people that you hire, I guess. I have no idea about that. I mean, some people are interviewing for my job at the neuro place, and they're fresh out of school too. Yeah, the person hiring you would have to really trust that you are in it for the long run, or that you're just really like a fast learner or whatever. So it's definitely up to the employer too, and what they think and what they need. Applying in August, it depends on your deadline. If it's an August deadline, then yeah, it's a little too late. But if it's November, I think that's okay. Yeah, see the deadline. Let's see more about the ENT rotation. So I have 10 minutes left, I think. Thank you for being here, guys. Hi, Fei Mao. ENT rotation established. How is process like? You just have to fill out a form and have your preceptor fill it out. They have to sign a contract. We have to sign a contract. It's a bunch of legal stuff so that your butt is covered. It took about like a month for me, or even longer than that. It was really stressful, but I really wanted that rotation. So I would say do it if you really want to get a job, hopefully at that place that you're trying to establish something at. Go for it. Any tips for the pants? What worked for you? Oh my god, Rosh worked a bunch for me. Again, I have a blog post that just covers everything that I went through in that actually in all of PA school. In all of PA school, you're just studying for the pants. So I didn't really hunker down until 2 weeks prior, and I'm a huge procrastinator. I still am. I don't study until there's pressure. So I did Rosh review. I did barely half of it. I couldn't even open up Pants Prep Pearls because it was just so much information. I just needed to answer questions quickly. So if you go on that blog post, it tells you everything that I did, what worked for me, what didn't, how I set up Rosh for it to kind of mimic the test. It's all on there. Hi from New York. Thank you. You guys are awesome. Yeah. Hope you guys are doing okay. Yeah, I also want to touch on the fact that I realized a lot of things while I'm like working through the pandemic, as well as kind of through this new social injustice kind of period we're going through. If you are like working in a clinic or kind of shadowing, doing rotations, check your biases, check your check your biases, and really take care of your Black patients, all your patients of course. But it's weird because I noticed this in my own clinic where I had a patient that got pushed to me, and this whole year this patient has been going through like possible MS or multiple sclerosis symptoms, and it hasn't been diagnosed yet. And it's just so weird because it wasn't the best quality of care, I think, that she got from like other places and from our clinic. So I just made it a point to really figure things out for her. I see that the disparities in just like healthcare face to face every day. So yeah, check yourself. Let me see. I love how you're a procrastinator. Yeah, that's me. Do it all the time. So yeah, hopefully you guys are doing okay. Good luck with applications. You guys are going through it. I'm still doing pre-PA mentoring sessions, and I'm talking to a lot of you guys, and I'm like, wow, you guys are doing so much more than I had to do. Like the COVID essay, for that, if that applies to you, if it affected you, definitely write about it. I'm here for support. My blog's filled with a lot of information. I'm going to try to do a little bit more for pre-PAs in the next coming months, pending kind of my job transition and how that's going to go. So be on the lookout, and yeah, thanks for supporting me. Giveaways soon. Yeah, I hope you guys are doing well as you can be. Let me see the last question. What's your undergrad cumulative in your science? I was a 3.3 and a 3.4, and that was after like taking extra classes after I graduated. So not the best, but I did my best from a initially 2.7 in undergrad. So yeah, good luck with everything. I hope you guys wear a freaking mask. I am preaching to the choir. I know you guys do, but oh my god, my patients are like in class, and I'm like, no, I have COVID patients in here, so protect yourself and put that up. So yeah, put on your mask. Mental health has definitely been a challenge during this pandemic. Yeah, do not give up. Oh man, yeah, mental health is huge. I've done so many psychiatric referrals for a lot of my patients because anxiety and depression are manifesting in like physical symptoms. So it's a lot to go through. But keep trucking, keep on keeping on, because that's all you can do. If you feel sad, if you feel kind of like helpless, you can do that for a couple hours to a day, but bounce right back the next day, because I've been there, questioned my worth a lot of times. So have a positive support system around you. Instagram's great, but keep going, because I know exactly how you feel. It was really tough and it was really dark, but the people around me really helped. And having a tangible kind of goal, or to having like a reminder somewhere for you, like, hey, this is where I'm gonna be, like, that kept me going. Yeah, immerse yourself in YouTube videos and kind of content on other people's Instas. Look at like how they got into PA school. Like, if you relate to that, that's great. It happened for them, it's gonna happen for you too. I said this in one of my videos, and I honestly say that every time to all my pre-PAs. Like, it's not a matter of if you get into PA school, it's a matter of when. It took me 3 times. Some people were like, yeah, it's been a while, you should probably do something else. And I was like, you know what, no, I still want this, and I would have done it a 4th time if I didn't get in my 3rd time. So just keep going at it, and it's going to happen. I'm all about sending positive kind of affirmations and energy into the world. Do that for yourself. Take some time off the gram and practice some self-care, and then go back into it, because the balance is just really, really awesome. So keep it up, y'all, and stay safe. I will record this, I will post it somewhere. So yeah, have a good Thursday night. See you guys next time.